David Kurtz with TPM Media here at Netroots Convention in Austin. I'm joined by author John Barry. He's the author of Rising Tide, which is a history of the 1927 flood on the Mississippi, and also the author of The Great Influenza on the 1918 influenza epidemic that killed millions worldwide. And he's here today to speak on a panel regarding Katrina. So bring us up to date on where things are in New Orleans now. I know it's kind of fallen off the map in terms of being a national news story. It's been, well, next month it'll have been 3 years since the storm hit. So 3 years on, where do things stand?
Well, in the last maybe 8 or 9 months, and really in the last 6 months, there's been a noticeable pickup in the economy and the vitality of the place. But there are still significant parts of the city where there's been almost zero progress. There are still probably parts of the city that still don't have utilities. So, you know, it's a long-term process. And I guess the main reason I decided to accept the invitation here was because I'm trying to communicate sort of the geological facts behind what happened to Louisiana. And I don't think people understand that, you know, they know we lost coastline. We lost 2,000 square miles. That's essentially the state of Delaware. If you wrap the state of Delaware around New Orleans doesn't need any levees. And the reason we lost that much land actually is because of benefits that accrued to the rest of the country. I think very few people realize that. For example, the Mississippi River, the mouth of the river used to be at Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Rush Limbaugh's hometown. The Gulf of Mexico used to go up that far. But the river carries so much sediment, it actually filled in all the land from Missouri to the present mouth of the river. But that sediment has disappeared from the river. And half of all the sediment that is missing from the Mississippi River that used to rebuild the coastline is actually impounded in dams in North and South Dakota. It provides electricity, flood protection, and irrigation in the Dakotas and Nebraska and Montana. And that directly benefits that area, and it has a significant impact in making Louisiana more dangerous. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a port with direct access to the ocean because of New Orleans. Tulsa, Oklahoma is a port with direct access to the ocean because of New Orleans.
And how receptive do you find people in other parts of the country to that message?
I think when you explain the facts to them, they're receptive. I think liberals in general want to rebuild New Orleans more in general than conservatives do. Although John McCain, as a matter of fact, has been much more explicit than anybody in terms of his willingness to commit serious money to Louisiana. And he did that, you know, right after the storm, immediately after the storm, and continues to do it up to this moment, more so than Obama, for example. But when you explain the facts, even to conservatives, they do recognize the responsibility. The problem is they don't know the facts. This is one instance where the facts are entirely on our side. There isn't even really a rebuttal case.
Thank you for joining us. This is David Kurtz at Netroots Nation with author John Barry talking about Katrina.